Anni-Frid Lyngstad, though not the most prominent member of ABBA, has had a colorful and interesting life. With a controversial past, she has overcome all the challenges to rise to the level of European royalty, something that few can do. However, the question is, how did she achieve this while maintaining a music career? Combining her passion for music and her royal duties was not easy, but she found a way to balance everything. Discover her journey through rare photos. Annie, though her life eventually turned out to be colorful, had a gentle beginning. She was born on November 15, 1945, as World War II was drawing to a close, in a small village in Norway. Her mother, Anni Lyngstad, was Norwegian, and her father, Alfred Hose, was a sergeant in the Nazi army and took part in the occupation of Norway. After the war ended, Alfred attempted to return to Germany but was forced to have his ship shot down by the Allies. At least that was what Annie was taught to believe most of her life. 3 years after Annie was born, hostility towards Norwegians with ties to Germany increased. Her mother, concerned for her daughter's safety, decided to leave her in the care of her grandmother. She took Annie out of Norway and emigrated to Sweden, where she worked odd jobs to support the two of them. Although her mother stayed in Norway and sent money, it took months for them to be reunited. But by then it was too little. Annie's mother, just 21, died of kidney failure within 3 years of giving birth, leaving Annie and her grandmother to struggle on. Annie, orphaned after losing her mother and experiencing many losses, grew up under the care of her grandmother. A quiet and shy child, she found comfort in the songs her grandmother sang to her. It was these experiences that made Annie love music from an early age. However, it took many years for her to begin to show her talent. After settling in Sweden, Annie began to lead a normal life and attend school in 1952 at the age of 7. Teachers quickly recognized her singing ability and encouraged her to perform in front of the class, which helped her gradually build her confidence. At the age of 13, Annie got her first job in a dance band, singing Schlager with the X Orchestra. Despite her young age, she demonstrated outstanding musical ability, and this job gave her the confidence to continue developing her musical career. Annie's fortunes began to change dramatically in 1964, when she was 18 and married her first husband, Ragnar Fredriksson, who was also a musician. Together, they founded and directed several musical groups at various levels. However, it was not until September 3, 1967, that Annie's career really took off. That night, she won the Swedish National Talent Contest, a turning point in her life. The big prize from winning was a recording contract with Emmy Sensa, but there was a big surprise that she did not know about. She was also scheduled to appear on a popular national television show. When Annie found out about the second part of the contract, she was terrified. If it were not for her obligations, she would probably have withdrawn from the contest. But in the end, she decided to overcome her fears, put all her worries aside, and take the stage. And when she sang, Annie's beautiful voice immediately captivated the audience, turning her into a national phenomenon. Even before her career had officially begun, Annie was a star. By the time the performance was over, agents and producers from all over Sweden were scrambling to sign her, including executives from Emmy Sensa. In the early hours of the morning, the agents took Annie from Stockholm to her family home in Eskilstuna, carrying a recording contract. They demanded that she sign it immediately to ensure that no one would be able to take her away from them in the years to come. However, the following year, Annie separated from her first husband, Ragnar, and they officially divorced in 1971. That same year, Annie released her first album, produced in collaboration with Benny Andersson, who would later become her partner in both work and life. The album was a huge success, selling well across the country and putting her on the radar of big stars like Agnetha Faltskog and Björn Ulvaeus. In 1972, the legendary group ABBA was officially formed, consisting of members Agnetha Faltskog, Björn Ulvaeus, Benny Andersson, and Anni-Frid Lyngstad. Although each member was already a star in their home country, together, ABBA became a global musical phenomenon. However, the story of Anni-Frid Lyngstad, one of the group's members, is more tragic. In 1971, before ABBA was formed, Annie's grandmother passed away, a profound loss in her life. That same year, Annie went through a difficult divorce, events that forced her to overcome and enter a new phase. Despite personal challenges, Annie did not give up and succeeded with ABBA, proving that sacrifice and perseverance can lead to results beyond expectations. During their heyday, ABBA were not only chart-topping, but also the fastest-growing industry in Sweden. Although the majority of their income was taken away by Swedish taxes, the group became extremely wealthy. However, it was not easy for ABBA to keep their business and personal lives separate. Anni-Frid Lyngstad was married to Benny Andersson, and Agnetha Faltskog was married to Björn Ulvaeus, making them the perfect couple in both their music and personal lives. However, like any glamorous story behind the perfect facade, their lives were not without challenges. Although Anni-Frid was enjoying the fruits of her labor and great success, personal troubles were always present, causing her to face inevitable difficulties. In 1977, Anni-Frid Lyngstad gave an interview about her family, sharing that her father had died while fleeing Norwegian reprisals. However, these claims were later debunked by a German youth magazine called Bravo. The magazine conducted a thorough investigation and discovered that Annie's father had not died in 1945 as she had believed, but had in fact been living in hiding. The truth was even sadder when Annie's half-brother, Peter Haza, found out about the story and asked his father if he had been a member of the Nazi Party. This truth not only exposed the family secret but also caused Annie to face a great emotional shock. Although Anni-Frid Lyngstad faced a huge shock when she discovered the truth about her father, she fortunately did not have to worry about her job, as World War II had been over for 3 decades and most of the wounds from that period had healed. Annie was also fortunate to be reunited with her father and maintained a close relationship with him until his death in 2009 at the age of 90. However, in the early 1980s, despite ABBA's continued success, the members' personal problems began to affect the group. Agnetha and Björn were having marital difficulties, and Anni-Frid was no exception when she and Benny Andersson divorced in 1981. Although this was not made public for decades, the fact that Benny had struggled with severe alcoholism for a large part of his life added to the strain on their relationship. Benny's alcoholism devastated his relationship with Anni-Frid, and when ABBA broke up, everyone thought she would retreat from the spotlight, live in silence, and enjoy her millions. However, the reality was quite different. Anni-Frid not only continued her moderately successful musical career, but also entered into a romantic relationship with Prince Heinrich Rousseau of Ray Count Plau, a wealthy and charming Swiss royal. Their relationship became so serious that Annie moved to Switzerland to live with the prince, and the two married, making Annie a Swiss princess. During this time, she also maintained close ties with the Swedish royal family, especially Queen Sylvia, who became her close friend. Despite being a commoner, Annie was accepted and respected, and no one suspected her of being an opportunist. Benny's alcoholism devastated his relationship with Anni-Frid, and when ABBA broke up, everyone thought she would retreat from the spotlight, live in silence, and enjoy her millions. However, the reality was quite different. Anni-Frid not only continued her moderately successful musical career, but also entered a romantic relationship with Prince Heinrich Rousseau of Ray Count Plau, a wealthy and charming Swiss royal. Their relationship became so serious that Annie moved to Switzerland to live with the prince, and the two married, making Annie a Swiss princess. During this time, she also maintained close ties with the Swedish royal family, especially Queen Sylvia, who became her close friend. Despite being a commoner, Annie was accepted and respected, and no one suspected her of being an opportunist. If you like this video, chances are you will also like the video that is showing on your screen right now. Click to enjoy and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.